창세기 31장 Genesis chapter 31. Jacob heard that Laban's sons were saying, Jacob had taken everything our father owned and has gained all this wealth from what belonged to our father. And Jacob noticed that Laban's attitude toward him was not what it had been. Then the Lord said to Jacob, go back to the land of your fathers and to your relatives, and I will be with you. So Jacob sent word to the Rachel and Leah to come out to the fields where his flocks were. So he said to them, I see that your father's attitude toward me is not what it was before, but the God of my father has been with me. You know that I worked for your father with all my strength. Yet your father has cheated me by changing my wages 10 times. However, God has not allowed him to harm me. If he had said that the speckled ones will be your wages, then all the flocks gave birth to speckled young. And if he said the strict ones will be your wages, then all the flocks bore stricken young. So God has taken away your father's livestock and given them to me. In breeding seasons, I once had dreams in which I looked up and saw that the male goats mating with the flock were strict, speckled, and spotted. The angels of God said to me in the dreams, Jacob, I answered, here I am. And he said, look up and see that the male goats mating with the flock, strict and speckled or spotted. For I've seen all that the Lord has been doing to you. I am the God of Bethel, where you anointed a pillar and where you made a wall to me. Now leave this land at once and go back to your native land. Then Rachel and Leah replied, do we still have any share in the inheritance of our father's estate? Does he not regard us as foreigners? Not only has he sold us, but he has used up what was paid for us. Surely all the wealth that God took away from our father belongs to us and our children. So do whatever God has told you. Then Jacob put his children and his wives on camels, and he drove all his livestock ahead of him, along with all the goods he had accumulated in Padan Aram, to go to his father Isaac in the land of Canaan. When Laban has gone to share his sheep, Rachel stole her father's household goats. Moreover, Jacob deceived Laban the Aramean by not telling him he was running away. So he fled with all he had, and crossing the river, he headed for the hill country of Gilead. On the third day, Laban was told that Jacob had fled. Taking his relative with him, he pursued Jacob for 7 days and caught up with him in the hills country of Gilead. Then God came to Laban the Aramean in the dream at night and said to him, be careful not to say anything to Jacob, either good or bad. Jacob had pitched his tent in the hills country of Gilead when Laban overtook him, and Laban and his relatives come there too. Then Laban said to Jacob, what have you done? You've deceived me, and you carried off my daughters like captives in war. Why did you run off secretly and deceive me? Why didn't you tell me so I could send you away with joy and singing to music of tambourines and harps? You didn't even let me kiss my grandchildren and my daughters goodbye. You have done a foolish thing. I have the power to harm you. And but the last night, God of your father said to me, be careful not to say anything to Jacob, either good or bad. Now you have gone off because you longed to return to your father's house. But why did you steal my gods? Jacob answered Laban, I was afraid because I thought you would take your daughters away from me by force. But if you find anything who has your gods, he shall not live. In the presence of our relatives, see for yourself with me, and if so, take it. And now Jacob did not know that Rachel had stolen the gods. So Laban went into Jacob's tent, into Leah's tent, and into the tent of the two of his servants. But he found nothing after he came out of the Leah's tent. He entered Rachel's tent. Now Rachel had taken the household gods and put them into her camel's saddles and was sitting on them. Laban searched through everything in the tent but found nothing. Rachel said to her father, don't be angry, my lord, that I can stand up in your presence. I am having my period. So he searched out but could not find the household gods. Jacob was angry and took Laban to task. What is my crimes? He asked Laban. What sin have I committed that you hunt me down? Now that you have searched through all my goods, and what have you found that belongs to your household? Put it here in front of your relatives and mine. Let them judge between the two of us. I've been with you and for 20 years now. That your sheep and goats have not miscarried, nor have I eaten the rams from your flocks. I did not bring your animals torn by wild beasts. I bore the loss of myself, and you demanded the payment from me for whatever was stolen by the night. This was my situation. The heat consumed me in the daytime, and the cold nights sleep fled with my eyes. It was like this for the 20 years I was in your household. I worked for you the 14 years for your daughters, and 6 years for your flocks, and changed my ways 10 times. If God of my fathers, the good God of Abraham and the fear of Isaac had not been with me, you would surely have sent me away empty-handed. But God sent me hardship and the toil of my hand, and the last night he rebuked you. Laban answered Jacob, the women are my daughters, the children are my children, the flocks are my flocks. All you see is mine. What can I do today about these daughters of mine, or about the children they have born? And I let it serve as a witness between us. So Jacob took a stone and set it up as a pillar. He said his relatives gathered some stones. So they took the stones and piled them in a heap, and they ate theirs by the heap. Laban called it Jargar, Shachatuta, and Jacob called it Gilead. Laban said, this heap is a witness between you and me today. That is why it was called Gilead. It was also called Mizpah because he said, may the Lord keep watch between you and me when you are away from each other. If you mistreat my daughters, or if you take my wives besides my daughters, even though no one is with us. Remember that God is a witness between you and me. Laban also to Jacob, here is the heap and here is the pillar I set us between you and me. This heap is a witness, and this pillar is a witness that I will not go past this heap to your side to harm you, and you will not go past this heap and the pillar to my side to harm me. May God of Abraham and the God of Nochar, the God of their father, judge between us. So Jacob took an oath in the name of fear of his father Isaac. he offered the sacrifice there in his country and invited his relatives to his meal. After they have eaten the same night there, early the next morning, Laban kissed his grandchildren and his daughters and blessed them. Then he left and returned home.